Do you consider yourself good at Football Manager? Or maybe you just have that one friend who thinks they're the best at the game because they won the Champions League once with Manchester United. Yeah, we all have one of those, don't we? Well, you're in luck. Today we have a video covering 5 of the hardest teams to manage in Football Manager. We did this video last year. You guys loved it. If you love it again this year, smash a like on it. If you're new here, subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this. So kicking off our countdown and in at number 5 is Gouveia, a team who play in the Portuguese Championship Group C. This is the 4th tier of Portugal. There's a lot of teams in this level as part of a big Portuguese restructure, and for Gouveia, things aren't looking particularly great. 10,000 to 1 odds of being promoted, and they're amateur in a sea of semi-pro teams with a squad that, to be honest, has a few bright spots, but sadly, even the bright spots aren't that bright. You can see here a comparison between your squad and all the other squads in the league. Whilst you're not the worst at everything, you're below average at just about everything, and it's a squad that's going to need improvements, but improvements are somewhat hard to come by when you're an amateur club that has just no wage budget and no transfer budget. I say no wage, you've got £3 a week on the wages. I mean, there's no money to spend here. The Portuguese Championship is the 4th tier, and as part of it, the league splits halfway through, with a number of teams going into a relegation stage against other teams that finished in other relegation stages within many of the groups that you see here. Having done a few simulations, Gouveia didn't stay up in 5 different tests I did. Every single time they went into the relegation group and then just got relegated. And to be fair, the good news here is the board are very aware of the club's predicament. The expectations for the year: fight bravely against relegation. If you do get relegated, you will go below the playable leagues and just get sacked. So yeah, that's Gouveia. A few other teams in Portugal at the same level who are also amateur who you might want to check out. But for me, they're the worst of the worst and therefore the hardest to manage. Coming in at number 4, we have AFC Astra, playing in the Romanian 2nd Division, a club that not that long ago were the champions of Romania, a team that actually played in European competitions, and I recognised their name when I stumbled across them. They got relegated last year, they finished 15th. You would be forgiven for thinking, well, it's a team who won the league a few years ago, they've just been relegated, they must be fine. You know, why is this a difficult save? You start on negative 14 points. Yeah. So Astra were relegated last year, then had 14 points taken off them. All their main players have left them. Financially, they're in a little bit of a pickle. That's perhaps being generous here. You don't have any old players in your team whatsoever. The oldest guy is 29. The rest of the players are just youth players from all over Romania they've managed to pick up. Financially, there is no finances, although there is some wage budget to spend, to be fair, so you are going to be able to improve things. Financial status is insecure. The squad itself needs additions as well because, I mean, technically it's not bad, but on the whole, you are definitely a below average team. And in the Romanian 2nd Division this year, there is a split, and the bottom 14 teams, I believe it is, go into 2 groups of 7, with 3 teams from each of those groups going down. So 6 teams will be relegated. Those 14 points that you have negative, you are going to want to get rid of. And it's kind of mad. 14 points is a lot of points. I know that's kind of stating the obvious. I hear points deductions. I think of kind of 5, 8, 14. That is basically 4 wins and 2 draws to try and cancel out the damage that's been done. You've got to try and avoid a relegation scrap. The board expectations, you'll be pleased to know, are fight bravely against relegation and repair the club's financial damage. Even if you do manage to stay up, financially, there is going to be a problemo for you to try and solve. And it's for that reason they're in at number 4. In at number 3, we have Project FA Malaysia Majlis Sukan Negara. I'm just going to call them Project FA. I think that's probably best. Project FA, you're not going to have heard of. They play in Malaysia. Have you ever managed in Malaysia? If you answered yes, there's a 90% chance you've just lied to me as you've replied to me on screen. Yes, Malaysia is not exactly a hotbed of footballing talent, nor is it a country I think I've ever managed in Football Manager. So why is this team in the list? Well, they start in the 2nd Division of Malaysia, as you can see here, under the name Project FAM-MSN, which is a much better name. They are weird. In real life, they were established just this year. This is their first year in existence. Essentially, the Malaysian FA set up a university team that players are able to play for whilst also attending school and getting a further education. And it is very much men against boys. In terms of transfer policy, you can see at the bottom here, you can't buy players over the age of 20. You can't sign foreign players. As soon as a player turns 21, you can't play them anymore. This is a challenging save game. At the start of the game, you have 4 real players, and then the team and the game will just generate a load of regens to fill out the rest of the squad. You start in the second tier of Malaysia, where fortunately for you, only one team goes down. Unfortunately for you, the odds aren't very much in your favour. Now, in real life, this team don't play in the Malaysia FA Cup. In-game, they do play in it. It's also worth noting that by default in the vanilla database, you can't get promoted from the second division. So if you want to have a realistic save game, you could manage this team and try and win the FA Cup with kids. If you want to take it a step further, down in the description, I've created a custom database that allows this team to be promoted. That means that if you finish in the top 2 somehow or some way, you will go up into the Malaysian Super League. Maybe the challenge here is to build up Malaysia as a country and try and win the top division of Malaysia with only Malaysian players under the age of 21. I'm not convinced that's physically possible, but please go out there and try and prove me wrong. I would love to see someone do the impossible with this save game. Worth noting, your recruitment is absolutely exceptional at this team. You will get through some good young players year on year in order to self-sustain yourself. If you're looking for a fun project, a challenge, something that might feel like a torture at times, perhaps the Project FA Malaysia Majlis Sukan Negara is the team for you. I think I nailed it at the end there. In at number 2, it's my favourite team in the world. It's Dover Athletic, everyone. A team who, if you haven't caught it on the channel, I've given Erling Haaland recently. Part 2 of that mini-series will be coming your way soon. If you've watched that video, you already know the scenario Dover are in. They start with minus 12 points in the Vanarama National League, which of course is the 5th tier of English football. Financially, the club is in a bit of a mess. There is no real money to spend in the first year. In terms of the team itself, well, pretty much all of your players' contracts expire within the first year. Your star man, Henry Woods, he's on loan for half a year. Then he's going to go back to Gillingham and you're going to be left with the rest of the team. And to be honest, it's just a hard save. Looking at the squad comparison here, you've not got the weakest squad in the league. There's bright patches here and there where you're not the worst, but at the same time, it's a below average squad that of course start off with this massive handicap and significant financial constraints. Even if you stay up first year on year, it's going to get a bit difficult to begin with, especially with a bulk of your first team leaving. You're predicted to finish bottom by the media. The board don't think you're going to stay up either. So even if you go down, you might not get sacked with them. If you want a challenging start to a Road to Glory save game, if you don't want to start as Wrexham manager, do it the hard way. Manage Dover. Give them a go. Not with Erling Haaland at your team, though. That would be cheating and just be ridiculous. And finally, in at number 1, we're going to Brazil. We're going to the 3rd Division B and Mirassol Football Club. Mirassol, I need to know what's happening here. Brazilian football fans who may be watching this video, please tell me what is up with this club. All these players in purple, they're not players who are loaned in. Those are players who are loaned out. This is a team that I don't really know what's happened. I don't know how it's happened or what's going on. All I know is you're over your wage budget. More than half of your first team, which seems to be all your good players, are out on loan. And your first team is quite small. So for people wondering, here's the first team of players actually at the club. Yeah, it's a minor situation. You are going to have some reserve players and some under-20s generate at the club. Some of these actually have some good potentials, and maybe they can help you somehow, but the Brazilian 3rd Division's pretty good. This team is just a mess. I mean, the wage budget itself, if we just compare it, right, in the season preview, the annual salary is £188,000 a week. Or a year, sorry. The next lowest is $300,000. Like, you've got half the amount of money of anyone else. You're predicted to finish bottom. All your good players are out on loan. And the other thing to note here is, and I don't mean to get too animated, these players are out on loan for a long time. You might be sat there thinking, well, Diego's going to be good. He's going to come back from his loan and tear things up. It's great and all. He's on loan at Botafogo for 3 years. I Please tell me what's happening. I don't understand. So the scenario itself is bad. The squad's not great. And then the board expectation is avoid a relegation battle. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it'd be bad enough if you get relegated, because getting relegated as a third division team means you go below the playable leagues and instantly get sacked. But the board, if you don't avoid a battle, you're probably going to be sacked anyway. I don't know how you're going to be able to keep them pleased. Of course, Brazil has a pretty crazy league structure where you have the state championship, then the actual league itself. The only silver lining really in all of this is the actual league season only takes place in the first year over 4 months. So if you fail at this save game the first time and you decide, hang on a minute, I want to give it another go, it's not that much more to play through really, because the seasons are so short. It's a weird team, it's a mad team. Financially, you're in a pickle. From a squad perspective, you're in even more of a pickle. I don't even know really how to describe this situation. It is mad, and it's for that reason, Mirassol Football Club of the Brazilian 3rd Division B, you're in at number 1. Good luck if you take on this team, you're going to need it. Anyway, that wraps up today's countdown. If you're new to the channel, we are on the road to 150,000 subscribers. Make sure to drop a sub for more content like this. If you're going to manage one of the 5 teams featured, let me know which it's going to be down in the comments. And until next time, thank you for watching as always. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.